Hello, hello, hello. I thought I would do some live streaming while I worked on a new demo repo. My goal today is to have a repo that shows that you can use all the popular Python AI agent libraries with GitHub models, meaning you can use them for free because GitHub models are free. And so I want to do examples with like LangChain, Semantic kernel, Autogen, LlamaIndex, PydanticAI, Crew AI, like all the agent frameworks that people have heard of. And if I missed any, let me know. It's pretty much possible to use GitHub models with all of those. At least I've gotten GitHub models working with all of those. I just need to get all those examples together in one repo in order to demonstrate to everyone how easy it can be. And this is all in preparation for the hackathon that is starting tomorrow. And I want to have a good example repo ready for those who want to be able to hack for free. It's always good when you don't have to spend money on things, especially when you're learning, right? All right, so let me go ahead and get a big screen up here. So I've got this repo for now, Python AI Agents demos under my account. And that's where I'm going to start putting examples. So to start off, I have the most basic one, which is just using the OpenAI SDK. And this is just like the standard OpenAI agents, standard OpenAI SDK. It's not even their agents SDK, but I just wanted to show function calling because really what agents usually need is they need a model that's an LLM that can do function calling. And that's kind of the bare bones of being able to do an agent. So this is just an example of doing function calling. This one's actually doing parallel function calling because there's some models that support single function calling and other models support parallel, meaning that they could potentially say like, oh, you need to call multiple functions. And so it can be important to know that you're using a model that can support parallel. So this is an example where if the model supports parallel tool calling, we will get it'll suggest two different functions to call. So that worked. This is the GPT-4o. I think I tried it with like one of the Llama ones and didn't get it to respond with both of them. Or I think actually one of there's an open, like an 01 or 03. I think one of those didn't seem to support parallel tool calling. Okay, so that's already working there. And the next one I thought I would do is, what do we want to do next? I could do maybe Autogen. So with Autogen, there's an example I like, which is their travel planning one. And I've already actually forked it in a branch, but it's in a notebook. So I want to have that not being a notebook. It's kind of hard to look at when it's a notebook. Let me see. Can I do like view file and view it as a notebook? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's port over this travel planning one. So I'll need to add more stuff to our requirements. The tricky thing will be seeing whether we can add everything we need to the requirements. Let me get rid of the stuff I'm not currently using. So OpenAI, I'm going to python.m. These are all good. Okay, and let me add, what do we need here? IO HTTP. Okay. All right, so I'll just pip install these ones. Okay. All right. So let me make a new file for autogen.py. Oh, hey, John. Thought it'd be too late for you, John. What time is it over there? Like, John's gonna miss this. All right, so let's do Autogen. Okay. And hopefully Autogen hasn't changed in the last like 2 months or 1 month. I think I did this a month ago. So I'm hoping that it's still relevant. All right, so we bring in a bunch of imports. So we've got our chat completion client, assistant. So these are all, okay, so in Autogen, the way we do it is that we define our, like our client, and then we pass the client into each of the agents that we define, right? So we're saying, okay, we're doing GPT-4o, this is the model, this is the API key, and this is the base URL, right? So basically for every framework, we're going to figure out how do we pass in the key as the token, and then how do we pass in this base URL? And then this produces an OpenAI compatible API. Okay, so we've passed that in here. So then we've got a bunch of agents. We've got a planner agent, local agent, language agent, traveler summary agent. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, and it doesn't tell you to install Autogen. We're gonna need Autogen. Let's go ahead and install Autogen. Oh, 4:38. I'm gonna assume you're jet lagged. All right, we got Autogen. Although John, if you weren't here, I don't think anyone would be. So here we've got, okay, so now we've got Autogen installed. We managed to get that installed with everything. And now we're going to bring together all these agents. So this is what I like about Autogen, is that it has nice ways of bringing together multiple agents with these group chats, as they call them. So this is Magentic 1. This is like their most recent group chat. Oh, and it's an await call. Maybe I can just do this. I wonder if I can just do this. Group chat, run stream, plan a 3-day trip to agent. Okay, so yeah, so we told it like, all right, group chat, here's all your agents. This is your termination condition, which is just looking for the text mention of terminate, which feels like a little weird, little janky. You can see it's actually in this agent description here. You can respond with terminate. That's from the summary agent. Don't know if any, I don't think any of the rest of them can end it. No. So basically it has all these agents. One of these agents knows how to terminate the conversation by responding with terminate. And this group chat here is looking for that condition. And it feels really jank. It feels basically like programming with regular expressions, right? Like, let's see if the regex matches terminate. But it does work. It's one way of doing things. There's other ways that you can do terminations with like function calling. All right, so it says run a stream. Okay, so let's see if this will work. There's a lot of squiggles here. I wonder why there would be so many scribbles. So we want it to be moving from this one, right? Because this is where we install it, Python 3.12. And all right, let's try this out. Okay, so it says agent chat. Okay, so agent chat must be a different requirement. So let's find out let's find what we need. Okay, here we go. So we need this one, Autogen agent chat. So that's higher level than just Autogen itself. So we'll go here. Maybe we only need that. And then also we do want the OpenAI extension. Okay, let's try this one. Okay. Now, all right. Well, it didn't error, but I didn't print out anything because I didn't really print anything. So what is console? Here we use console. It's just a UI. All right. So maybe we should do that. So that's interesting is that I've only used Autogen inside notebooks because all their examples are notebooks. So I don't actually know what is the return. Produces a stream of messages. And then the last item. Okay. So I assume console consumes a message stream. Okay. And renders the messages to the console. All right, let's try that. Okay. All right. Yeah, it says that this is an awaitable. So what we can do is await it. So to do that, we're going to have to wrap everything inside a, well, we can do it a few different ways, but we could say, so here's all our setup. Be like, okay, async def run agents. Okay. So this should be await. Let's make sure await. Yes. And then if name. Okay. All right. So we're going to port async IO. We can just move that to the top. Things are all out of order. Okay, move that to the top. And when we run this, it should call run agents. All right. Let's try that out. Okay. Model mismatch. This is just like subversions of the models. Sometimes this happens, but that's okay. Like it's fine. And oh yeah, this is still going to Egypt. I think that I was working on this in office hours with John. So I think John actually suggested Egypt. Okay. All right. So we have the orchestrator coming in. Yeah. So it's just basically going through. Right, we start off with the user. We have the orchestrator. The orchestrator is the planner. The planner is going to decide what to do. Got the planner agent. And at the end, okay, now it's waiting. Now it's asking for suggestions for phrases. Now, one interesting thing about doing agentic flows with GitHub Models is that they are going to generally use more tokens than other flows because we're using multiple calls to LLM. We might have long system messages. We're defining functions. The functions take time. So you might run out of quota when using GitHub Models, but one thing we can do is just kind of switch between different models, right? So right now I'm on GPT-4o. If I ran out of quota on that one, I could go to GPT-4o mini, right? All right, so it says final notes and terminate. So this is like the summary of the plan, right? So that comes from travel summary agent. Travel summary agent is the final one that gives the final output, and they include the terminate, and that's how it knows that it can finish the entire conversation. All right, well, that's Autogen. So Autogen is working. I think there is one other Autogen one I liked. So there's travel planning, and I think originally travel planning was with a different agent, not the Magentic one, but like there's different group chat agents you can do. And then Swarm. Okay, so there's also the Swarm example. This was kind of an interesting one too. You can take a look at this one. All right, so maybe I'll call this Autogen _ travel planning. And let me put that in the examples folder. And then let's do a new one. Will be Autogen. What is it? It's Swarm, but no, what does it actually do? Let's see. Okay, so Swarm. There's the customer support example. Yeah, the refund a flight. This is the one. Okay. All right, so this is like a travel agent. We can call that sounds so much like, okay, we'll say like light agent, something like that. Okay. All right, so for this one, we going to bring in some imports again. And let me bring in async IO because I'll probably need it. And I'll need OS. Okay. All right. So once again, we have our client and we're going to have a tool. Let's do a tool here. Very basic tool. I think this tool can be async too. I'll make this bigger. All right, so we have the client. Let's define these agents here. Okay, so we got the travel agent, taking the client, and it can hand off. So in Swarm, you have to manually define the handoffs, right? So you're like, okay, this one can hand off to the flight refunder or back to the user. And then the flight refunder can hand off to the travel agent or back to the user. And then we also define the tools. So only the flight refunder has the refund flight tool. So we'll go ahead and maybe move that here. All right. And then for running these agents, this time we are using Swarm and a different termination. So this time there's two possible terminations. There's the handoff termination well, this is like a union. Yeah. So handoff is if it gets handed off to the user. So there's a specific mechanism for that. Because remember here we said handoff, you can hand off to the user. So Autogen has a specific way of handing off to the user. And then we say, okay, Swarm, here's your agents, here's your termination condition. And then we are going to run it. Oh, and here, because we're doing with user input, it's actually going to be a little bit fancier. So let's see. Okay. Maybe okay. So I'll put this in here. Task. I'll put the task here. Okay. So async. So run the stream. All right, we're creating a team. We're running it. We're getting the message. We're checking to see if that last message was the user. If so, we ask for a response from the user and get back the result. Gives us the last message. And so then, we just keep going until it's terminated, right? So this will keep asking for the user if it needs to. Otherwise, it will eventually terminate. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to like pass the task into here as a string. That's kind of nicer. And then say async. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Any problems in here? Looks good. Looks good. Pass the task to the function. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So what you notice here is like there's a lot of handing off that happens. I think this is the drawback of Swarm is just that's how much back and forth handing off happens. But okay, so now it's transferring the role. So the flight refunder said, could you please provide your flight reference number? So we can just be like, Delta 123, right? And it says, okay, great. It found Delta 123 in its lovely database and it handed off the right place. And the flight refunder handed back to the travel agent. The travel agent saw that it's been done and says, okay, you're done. Terminate. Okay, so that one works as well. So that's good. We've got examples of Swarm and Magetic one. Maybe I'll just put that in the file name. All right, so which one? I kind of want to try the one I haven't tried yet, which is the OpenAI, because OpenAI now has an Agents SDK, and I believe it looks like really similar to these ones. Let me see. OpenAI Agents, this one. a thing I don't know is whether it has to be hosted or no, it says this SDK is compatible with any model device that support the OpenAI chat completions API format. Okay, so that should include GitHub Models. So let's try it out. So OpenAI Agents. All right, so first test is whether we can install that alongside everything else in our environment. So I'll do a pip install here. Bring in Agents SDK. All right, we got it. We don't need voice right now. All right, let's try. All right, so the bare basic one isn't going to work because it assumes you've got OpenAI as an environment variable. So I need to see, ooh, I like this example here though. All right, so I want to get this one working with GitHub Models. So OpenAI Agents. I know. As Joan said, my requirements are going to be huge at the end. Yeah, so this is what I'm debating. Like the other thing I can do is just put a pip install like in a comment at the top of each one. I think it's fine for it to be huge if it's compatible, because what if it's huge and compatible, I can make a code space pre-build so that the requirements are baked into the container. So, because a lot of people will be opening this in GitHub code spaces, so then it won't be a big deal. I can also use UV. UV is much faster at installing. I think this is be a good one to do UV for. So those are what I'm thinking about is like, if they're all compatible, then, we can use UV, use a pre-build. If they're not compatible, then I think I'll have to put comments at the top to say like, oh, install blah, blah, blah for this one to work. Or I'd have to do subfolders, but then you have to like make sub environments. So yeah, we're going to see. So I ideally want to just put this all in the same repo because I have too many repos. All right, so this is not going to work. I mean, I can run it to verify that it's not going to work, but it's not going to work because it doesn't know how to connect to an OpenAI compatible model. So we need to find how to pass in a model. Okay, so I see model settings. So it's probably that. Ooh, I also see MCP. Nice. All right, so let's look for an example of model settings. Oh, probably this link here. Mixing and matching models using other LLM providers. Globally used in async cases. Okay. Model provider, is it the runner.run? That looks kind of good. I kind of like that. Or you could do it at the agent level, but I think I like the idea of doing it at the at this layer. Agent tools, runner.run agent, run config. Okay, and let me just check the other one too, because maybe it'll be a lot easier. Let's see. Agent.model. Okay. Well, this is probably going to be the easiest. Actually, this actually looks the most like model equals. All right. Kind of like this one just because we can do different models per agent. All right, so I'm going to take this code here and yeah, John is suggesting this workaround. So that was definitely true with the old version, original version of OpenAI SDK. I don't know if it's still true in the new one, but I also really try to avoid globals like that, overriding globals, because then it's really hard to do testing. It's really hard to like have different configurations in the same repo. So I always prefer this kind of construction here, like let's construct something and let's pass that thing around. It's more work, but it's much better for testability and for having more flexibility within the same code base to change stuff. All right, so I want the base URL. So base URL is going to be this one. And then the API key, we're going to bring this in here. Import OS. Yep. Okay. API key is going to be os.get I will do it OS environment GitHub token. Okay. All right. And where do we import that open? Oh, it's literally taking it from. Okay. So this one does build on top of the OpenAI SDK because this is taking it. This is the same. I could have just copied and pasted it. Although they're using the async one here, but yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing here. All right. So now we have the async AI, OpenAI. We set that up. And then this is how we pass it into an agent. So here we're gonna pass in some models here. And so we could either have the model as a global, or we can specify, because maybe there's some model that we want to use. Like maybe there's a model that's really good at Spanish, right? And maybe we want to use that for that agent, right? That's the nice thing about doing the model per agent. Okay, and so I'm going to also bring in this stuff. All right. Okay, so we have this. All right, so each of them has an associated model. So then we go back to main, and it's going to run the triage agent and show the result. Okay, let's see what that does. So the triage agent says hand off to the appropriate agent based on language of the request. Okay, so you're literally just passing to different. This would be a great one if you had different LLMs that were good at one language versus the other, right? Spanish, you only speak Spanish. Okay, it says, all right, skipping trace export. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, I maybe that's why we have the set tracing disabled. All right. So it looks like if you're not using OpenAI, you should explicitly turn off this tracing, because I guess it's really trying to trace to OpenAI. So that must be that is a big thing for agents generally, is observability. So we're going to explicitly turn it off since we're not using OpenAI here. Okay, and yeah, it passed it off to the Spanish one. All right, so that's the OpenAI Agents SDK. It looks really similar to other ones, but we should do one that has tools in it. So let's look back to the original page here. So there's the functions example. Do they have like much fancier examples? I don't know. What example should we do for it? We could do this one. Just an example, or maybe we can just add a function. What would be a good function for I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example for the language agents. I just want to have an example of that. All right, maybe we'll only do this one. PMI. What's PMI? What is PMI? All right, let's do this one. Agent. BDD. Translate. PMI. All right, we need to bring in function tool. Okay. All right. Name equals weather agent. You can only provide weather information. Okay. And then we're going to do, let's go a little fancier than that. There we go. All right. So then what we can do is agent tools. All right. So, maybe this agent. What if each of them could get the weather? Yeah, let's try that. And that's the appropriate agent. Okay, how about that? Can you tell me the weather? Hello, how are you? Can you tell me the weather? Oh yeah, it needs the name of the para San Francisco. Okay, so it knew it needed the city, so that's good. So it knew because it knew that tool needed a city, and it says it's sunny 72. Okay, so yeah, so that worked. All right, so that'll be our example for OpenAI agents. So now that is working. Okay, OpenAI agents is working. We did Autogen. Let's see, I could do semantic kernel. Should I do semantic kernel next, or we could do PydanticAI. I think, did I make a gist with the PydanticAI stuff? Let's see. Pydantic. I did it with semantic kernel. All right, so let's do semantic kernel. This is for GitHub models. Okay. Semantic kernel. All right. And now the hope is that, I mean, I made this like a month ago. The hope is always that it's still going to work today because all these things change all the time. All right. So we clearly need to install semantic kernel. Let me find the actual tutorial this is based off of. So it's this one here, coordinate agent collaboration. All right, so it's just going to be a install semantic kernel. Okay, fingers crossed that this is going to install. Question is, what's the easiest way to turn this into a UV? Is there just like a UV convert requirements.txt to PyProject.toml so I can start using UV because it's getting a little slow on the install here. Semantic kernel brings in quite a bit. See all the new things? Oh gosh, it's bringing in NumPy. We're done for now. Okay, all right. Yeah, I could do UV pip install. I was thinking of like going full UV for this one, right? Because I've been talking about doing that. This would be a good one to do it. All right, so it did manage to install semantic kernel, surprisingly. All right, so we've got it installed. And then we got everything. All right, so I already have this set up with OpenAI. So once again, you're going to notice, once again, we just bring in async OpenAI from the OpenAI client. This is my favorite when this is what they support because it's just so easy to figure out how to do it because it's going to look the same as everything else. So here's our async OpenAI client. Here's our, and then we say, okay, this is how we're going to do chat completions using this client. And then we add that to the kernel. So now the kernel knows about that service. Then we have a bunch of agents, and the agents have instructions. Some of them have tools. This one has kind of a tool. This is like the text termination condition. This is my comment that it feels jank. I'll delete my comment there. Okay. And I think they've actually revised the tutorial after I went through it and made some changes. But let me just see if this is working first before I check for updates. Okay. All right. So it's already changed. Cool. Okay. Actually, one of the things I said was that I didn't understand service ID. So I wonder if that's now changed. Let's see what it looks like in this version of the tutorial. Okay, so we just say kernel name instructions. Kernel name instructions. Okay, so maybe they just got rid of service ID. That's good because I didn't understand why we needed that. Okay. All right, so I think there's just 2 chat completion agents here. All right, I wonder how many other things have changed. User, oh, okay. All right, so here's, what do we try here? Da, da, da. All right, what are examples of what to try? Okay, roses. All right, so these are just a bunch of examples. Roses are red. Okay, so we have a writer and a reviewer. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, it says that it copies to the clipboard, but I've never gotten the clipboard to work. Okay, correction provided to address the spelling errors. All right. Well, this works right now. Oh, let me do like a commit of everything so far because, okay, add initial demos. I push that. All right. So let me do a commit and then see whether things have changed significantly here. So I'm gonna bring in this code. All right, so this is their latest code. The only thing I need to do is change the service here because we're using GitHub Models. So we're gonna do, and so I need to bring in this here. Okay, and then the OpenAI chat completion, this one. So instead of Azure, we have this one, OpenAI. I wonder if I can just import it from here. All right. And then service ID. So does this one, did we get rid of service IDs entirely? Service ID, no service ID. All right, does it not need a service ID? Let's just see if I don't pass it in. All right, is it gonna work? Okay, ready, type your input. Roses are red, violets are blue. I didn't try very hard on that. Okay. All right, viewer, writer. Well done. Okay. I think they got, let me see. Did they keep the clipboard in the final one here? No, they got rid of the clipboard. I think the clipboard, yeah, I tried out when I originally did this. Yeah, there's this like Paperclip package that it was using, and I did try installing the Paperclip package, and it just wasn't working. So I think that the clipboard package is very like environment specific, maybe OS specific. So they revised it. So great, like the new code, new code works. Okay. Thanks. Bye. I don't know how to say. Not sure what the exit strategy is for it. Okay. It's editing my bye. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, I'm going to Control C. Nope. There we go. All right. Okay, so semantic kernel is working. Let me add a link to the relevant tutorial for that one. And updating to the latest tutorial code. Okay. All right, so we've got semantic kernel. Now, what about we could do LangGraph? Do LangGraph. Let's see, my colleague gave me some LangGraph. Let's see, a little LangGraph sample repo. Let me find it. And I did this. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so let's try. So this one, he said he had some LangGraph ones in here. I think I also have a fork of LangGraph somewhere with GitHub Models, but let's see what these ones do. Time travel looks kind of fun. Time travel. Build the apple, but play the song. Oh, okay. It's not actually going to play the song. Play that song. Okay. And then edges. Yeah, LangGraph has all these crazy. Okay. This could be an interesting one to do. Looks a little different from the other ones. Okay. All right. Let's try this one. All right. Now, here's the question. Can we add this one? We're going to add LangGraph and LangGraph OpenAI. And then I'm going to try installing everything and seeing if it's all going to work. It worked. They're still compatible. Amazing. Okay. All right, so we need to do some configuration. Let me see if I have notes. I do have notes. Okay, documentation course. Here we go. This is where I figured it out. All right. Okay. All right. Let me do a new file for LangGraph time travel. Okay, so that's from my notes about how to connect LangGraph to OpenAI. All right, so let's build the agent. Okay, we got a bunch of stuff here. All right. Okay, so let's put the imports up here. So what we got is a tool, which uses a decorator. Pretty much everybody uses decorators for tools in their SDKs. Everyone just calls it something slightly different. But here's the tool decorator for LangGraph. So it plays a song. It says it plays a song, play the song. There's a couple tools. We got a tool node. All right, so setting up the model. So that's the one where I wanted to bring in this. So instead of chat OpenAI, I wanted to use this one. Is that going to work? I'm missing an import. So this is in a special package. Let's see what the package is. LangChain Azure AI. Yeah, that's the package. Okay. LangChain Azure AI. I could have also done it with, well, we could do it the simpler way. Maybe we'll do it the simpler way. There's always two different ways of doing. So not always. With LangChain, there's two different ways of doing it because there is this special package. So that would be one option. But we could do the simpler way too. So chat OpenAI. Let's take a look at these thing here. Root client, base URL, and API key. Okay. So we'll do it the simpler way. Base URL. Yep. All right. Good. Okay. That should work. All right. Then we tell the model that it is bound to those tools, so it can use those tools. We have a function to decide whether to continue, a function that calls the model, a graph, a conditional edge, another edge, memory, and then we compile it. I gotta say, I can't really do a good job explaining how LangGraph works. Like, I think you have to take a whole course to understand it. But we're gonna hope that it compiles. Oh yeah, well, that's okay. We can get rid of this import. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there were no issues, but I think that means we didn't actually run it. All we did is compile it. Yeah, so now we need to interact with the agent. So we have another import that's going to go up there. We have a config. We have a human message with a thread. Okay, so we tell it there's a thread ID, there's the messages. It's going to run it and then print the results. All right. Can you play? All right, it played anti-hero. That's pretty fun. Okay, well, that worked. Let's see. Let's get the, okay, you can browse the history of the thread. You can get the state history of it, replay a state. All right, branch off a past state. Oh my gosh. All right, I will just link to this for people who want to explore more. Okay. All right. The basic one is working for LangGraph, and we were able to add it to the requirements. Add LangGraph. Example. Okay, so we got LangGraph. How about Pedantic? Pedantic. Okay. I do have a gist for it. Okay. All right. Yeah, as always, it's really straightforward. So let's go and find a fun Pedantic example. Okay, so Pedantic has a few different demos. They have like really basic agent. Let's do this one. Oh, it looks like this one looks a little fancier. I wonder if they updated this. All right, so this is a flight one. This one's trying to look for like a seat preference. So let's try that one. Yeah, I think they must have just added this because I did mention to them that you know, I didn't think that the examples were fancy enough. Let's do this one. Okay. All right, so let's do Pydantic AI plane. Everything's flight. I guess everybody just wants to be easier. That reminds me that I need to figure out some flight details. Gosh, I need an agent for it. Okay. All right. So here we go. And how are we going to pass this in? We got to use a model. So we're going to define the model up here. Okay. I'm surprised I haven't gone over my rate limits yet, given how many agents examples I've done in the last hour. But okay, so we have OpenAI model. And of course, we need to install PydanticAI. I have hopes for PydanticAI, though, because they tend to have minimum requirements. So let's see. PydanticAI. Let's see. All right. It installed. Look at this. Such an amazing requirements. All right. So now I'm going to reopen it. You should be able to find that now. There we go. Squiggles be gone. There we go. Squiggles be gone. All right. Okay. So we set up our model. We've got Pedantic models, of course, for flight details. They have one for the details and also just if there's a failure. And we don't have to have it. I'm going to get rid of the typing here. It's not necessary. Okay, so what we need to do is pass in the model. So instead of this string, we're going to pass in model. Yes. And there's the result type. I'm not running MyPy on these, so I can get rid of that. Ignore. System prompt. So it tells it to use the flight search tool to find a flight. And then Yeah, and then you can, so here's the interesting thing with Pydantic is that you can decorate, like you can use a decorator associated with the agent in order to do the tools, but I think most people just find it more straightforward just to say tools equal. So you can do both. Let me get an example. Tools, function tools equal. Okay, yeah, we'll just link to it. Tools equals blah. And you can just say tools, light search. Agent tool. Right, so here's a three-way. Agent tool plane, tool data place. All right, well, maybe we'll just stick with the way they had it, not to mess with it too much. But all right, so this is they immediately define the tool associated with that agent. And it returns some dummy data. We got usage limits. Okay, find flight. All right, so find flight is the main function, it looks like. So it's going to ask where we want to fly, run the agent, and if it gets back the details, return it. Otherwise, tell it to try again. Then we have seat preference agent. So we need to pass in the model here. And we have a function here that asks what seat you would like. Okay, so it first tries to find the flight, then it tries to find the seat. All right, so this isn't very much of an orchestration example because it's really just doing parallel, like not parallel, sequential calls to agents, right? Like first we're calling find, find flight, and then we're calling find seat. So I don't think it's that much of a compelling example. So this programmatic agent handoff. So, yeah, it's saying these are just used used sequentially, right? So I think that if you want to get really fancy, you have to go to PydanticGraph. This one actually looks a little bit fancier. All right, anyway, so let's just try running this one and see how this goes. Okay, it says it got an unexpected keyword, model name. Yeah, and then provider. Interesting. Why? Okay. They must have changed this really recently then. All right, so let's take a look at their models. OpenAI configuration. Uses the OpenAI. Okay. Custom OpenAI client. All right, so probably we should just do it this way. Okay, so I think they maybe have also changed to a similar way. So we'll just bring in the async. We'll do the async OpenAI. Async OpenAI. OpenAI model. Provider equals OpenAI provider. OpenAI client equals. Here's going to be the client, and we can just grab the client from one of these. Client. Okay, client equals this one. All right, and let's import the OpenAI provider. All right, and then the agent takes in the model. Okay, so then we're going to move that here, OpenAI model provider. All right, so I think they did some refactoring. Okay. All right, so where do you like flying to and from? I need to go from Pittsburgh Oops, Pittsburgh to Seattle. So I can get from PyCon and go to build, flight found. Wow, look at that. They found a flight. Window seat. All right, I got front row A. Amazing. Okay. All right, so that's not, it's not a super fancy example. I was saying like for PydanticAI, if you do want to be fancy, you need to move to graph. So they're like, I don't think the vending machine is the very compelling one. Maybe one of these ones would be more compelling, like the email one. But okay, so we have a basic one here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this one. All right, what do we do next? We got, let's see, what about LlamaIndex? Maybe LlamaIndex? I think I may have a LlamaIndex somewhere I can port. Let's see. Let's see if that other repo had a LlamaIndex in it. Maybe this one also. Okay. All right. So that one had LangGraph and LangChain. I think this one might have LlamaIndex. LlamaIndex, yes. But the question is, what do we consider to be an agentic use of LlamaIndex, right? Like LlamaIndex doesn't look like an agent SDK the way that other things do, but also like really at this point, everything's an agent if it has use of tools. So let's see if I look up LlamaIndex Python agentic example, let's just see what I find. Agentic strategies, agentic RAG, right? Let's see if they have one with, I just want one that's using, I don't want to have to use I just want one that's going to work locally. So maybe sub-question query engine. That's kind of cool. So OpenAI, vector store index. All right, the Paul Graham stuff. I feel like we could make RAG on people other than Paul Graham. Sub-question. All right, so this is like one example. I think LlamaIndex is interesting because, we associate LlamaIndex with RAG. And the question is, what do you consider to be agentic RAG? A lot of RAGs are actually agentic, even if they aren't called agentic. So in this case, in this example, they set up a sub-question query engine, right? So for the question that the user asks, so this one, like how was Paul Graham's life different before and after during YC? It breaks it up into 3 sub-questions and then searches for each of those, right? Which is good. That's definitely one thing associated with agentic RAG is to do that. Now for this one, let's see, is this doing a local? I'm just looking to see which one, an example that would work locally. I think this might work locally. I'm just not sure what vector store index it uses. Be nice to have something even simpler. Agentic strategy. Okay. And there's also, okay, we got routing, full agent loop on top of existing RAG engines. Okay. Oh, so they actually do have classes called agent. Okay, so they got some calculator tools and a useless function. Yeah, there's so many frameworks. Okay. Object index agent with tool retrieval. Okay, well, this is just an example of making agents do math, which is cool. I wanted one, yeah, what about this one? React agent with query engine tools. One to query and the other to query the Uber. Oh, this is actually based off an example I saw the LlamaIndex CEO talking about. Okay. All right. The question is whether we can. All right. So storage context. Okay. This is also going to download quite a bit. Right. So we do, okay. So you query. All right. So here's an example where they say compare and contrast the revenue growth of Uber and Lyft in 2021. And then it's going to check two different search indexes, right? So that's another kind of agentic RAG is to know what search indexes to look in. All right, I guess I will try this. Ooh, all right, first step. Can we install it? This will be maybe the last one install. So the other one I'm avoiding is Crew AI because I know that Crew AI has quite a lot of dependencies and I just don't know. And also Crew AI like doesn't tend to lend itself to single file examples as much because Crew AI, you generally will make like multiple files. So I do have a repo that does use Crew AI with GitHub Models, but I just don't know about putting it inside this repo. All right, so let's see. Can we install it? Let's find out. I know I keep singing the wedding march. I need something else to hum. What should I hum while I wait for requirements to install? Maybe Taylor Swift songs. All right, we got it installed. We got everything installed. Amazing. All right, so now we're going to try a LlamaIndex example. And by the way, my colleague is planning to translate all of these into Spanish. So that's why I'm putting them all in examples folder because she's going to make a Spanish examples folder, which will be cool because she's going to give a stream in Spanish about how to do this. Like an official stream. I'll have an official stream about this once I have this all sorted out. All right. So we're going to bring in our usual stuff. Okay. Now, the tricky thing is going to be setting up the LLM. So I do have an existing example that works with LlamaIndex and GitHub Models. So let me go and find that one to see how I did it there. LlamaIndex. Okay. So with that one, I like this one. They're OpenAI like. Okay. I love it. All right, OpenAI like. So it's going to be like this. OpenAI like. They're saying it's very similar to OpenAI, but not quite. All right. And then, yeah, and use the LLM to chat. Okay. So now we have an LLM. So I guess what we do settings.llm so that I'll set it on the global. Okay. Once again, I don't like setting globals, but I guess that's what we do. It does have a squiggly line, which is concerning. So let's see why it has a squiggly line. Did I have to bring in, maybe there's an extra that I need to bring in for this? Let's find out. Yeah, so there's this one, LlamaIndex OpenAI like. All right, there we go. So they have a whole separate package for OpenAI like LLMs. All right, let me install that one. Oh gosh, is that going to bring it? That's bringing in transformers. We have like every package here. We should do a pip freeze at the end and see what it looks like. All right. So we got OpenAI and then embedding model is interesting. We haven't been doing embedding models yet, but we can do an embedding model. I just hopefully we don't have to embed too much because there is a limit to there's rate limiting. And so if you try to embed a lot, you're going to run into rate limits. So I just don't know how much they're going to try and embed, but we can use one of the text embedding 3 models. So that would, let's see, not be a chat model. Okay. Is there like an is embed model thing? Wow, there's a lot. Is chat model is function calling. All right, well, hopefully I can use that as in. Is that going to work? We'll find out. Okay. This is also part of why it's hard to do RAG with GitHub models if you need embeddings. It's all having to make all those embedding queries. All right, so storage, load index from storage. So presumably there is a storage folder. Oh, no, there's not. Okay, no, we're setting up the storage folder and then we're going to download from here. All right, how do I download? Okay, so I need to convert this into Python calls. Okay, let's just have Copilot do this. Convert. Okay. Oh, let me reload my Copilot here. Load index from storage. This really looks like, okay, persist directory. What is this? Storage contacts. Persister. Okay. Convert these terminal commands to Python. And I'm trying to find, all right, so where are the files? There's got to be like files here, secrets, files. Oh no, we decided there are no files. No, the files we are downloading. That's what we just did. Okay. Convert to Python. Okay. Probably do like a little URL lib. Requests. Okay, using requests. Okay. Yeah, that looks reasonable. Here's the question is, what do I already have in my environment? Let's check. Do I have requests? I do have requests. Okay, so the request works. So we'll do requests. And then let's see about downloading these. 10,000. Oh gosh, I really hope it doesn't make embeddings of 10,000 rows. Oh, this is just a PDF. Okay. All right. A PDF is reasonable. PDF. Let's see what this PDF looks like. Okay. Oh no, it's 238 pages. Okay. All right. I need to look through this code here to see if this is going to be reasonable. Query engine. Query engine from defaults. React agent. So where is it doing the... Trying to understand where it's doing... Oh, vector store index from documents. Or we can't. I don't think we can run that many embeddings with GitHub models. So we could do, I'm just seeing if they have an example where we wouldn't have to do it. All right, so this one looks reasonable. All right, I'm gonna go to this one. Anthropic. Okay, set up with Anthropic, but that should be okay. Yeah, I could. Okay, so John says I can put a fake PDF. I could do a fake PDF. All right, let's do. All right, we can go back. I'm just nervous because I haven't used LlamaIndex very much, so I'm nervous because I'm not sure whether it's going to work out. All right, so let me take a much smaller PDF. Let's do one from Azure Search. We can just grab one of the ones from Azure Search demo. Perks Plus is like really small. All right, that we can embed for sure. All right, we're going to bring in Perks Plus, and we're going to bring in, let me see, how big is role library? We could probably embed this, but that's a little long. Let me see if I've got a shorter one. Benefit, Contosa. Oh no, what did I just open? A markdown file. Let's see if I have. All right, we'll try handbook. Oh, this one's shorter. This one's shorter. All right, let's do Perks Plus and employee handbook. All right. Okay. All right, so instead of all that fancy stuff, we're just going to do a like open local file. And, I think this index loaded, that's like if you already had it loaded in. All right, so I think that we just go straight to, this is if you already had it loaded in. If not index loaded, so this is what we need here, is we're going to say, but instead of lift docs, it's going to be, we'll just say docs1, docs2. And it's going to be, let's see, okay, current directory, and it's just going to be that, except make it pathlib. I love pathlib. Pathlib, import path. Nope. With a lowercase. Okay. All right, so let's do file.parent. Okay, I like that one, because then we just do like this, // employee handbook.pdf. All right, that looks good. We're missing an import for a simple directory reader. It's up here. LlamaIndex core. Okay. And then same thing with this one. We're going to do input files equals perks plus.pdf dot load data. All right. So now we've loaded those in. Docs1, docs2. Let's make index1, index2, index1, index2, docs1, docs2. So, okay, and then we persist. All right, all right. Learning this live, people. That's why it's live coding. Okay, index1 and index2, storage docs1, storage docs2. Okay, I'm just making this really generic so that we can bring in different things. Okay, so then in that case, we could bring back this, because that way, if you like, once you embed it once and split it once, you could keep messing with it. So that does make a lot of sense to do that. To try to load. Yeah, thank you. Here we go. Okay, so we'll say index1, index2, docs1, docs2. All right, so then we say if not index loaded. Ooh. All right, we don't need all that. If, okay. Oh, all right. Okay, so that's making sense now. We loaded it in. Now we need to make a query engine. So we'll make a query engine. So engine 1, engine 2, index 1, index 2. Looks like it's vector storage based. And then we make query engine tools, which know how to query those engines. Go ahead and move this up. Okay, query engine tools. Engine 1. Engine 2. Name. Docs. Engine 1. Engine 2. Now what we should do here is associate them, like write their things. So docs 1 is the employee handbook. Provides information about Contoso employee handbook. Provides information about Contoso Plus program with benefits and benefits. Okay. All right. So the thing is, it does need enough information to know when it's going to query each of those. So, you know, in reality, you'd probably want to give more hints and more description here because it's not entirely clear, like what's in the employee handbook, right? So, for example, in the employee handbook, we've got job roles, whistleblower policy, workplace safety, covering basic job roles, policies, HR, etc. Workplace safety. Benefit including what can be reimbursed. Okay. All right, so now we've got a good explanation. So now we set up our React agent, and I forget even what React in RAG stands for. React stands for Just wanted to see what the problem is that you end up getting React.js. Okay, React framework. Reasoning and acting. Okay. Yeah, reasoning and acting. So that involves some planning, right? That's it. All right. So we're making a reasoning and acting agent. I think basically that's what a lot of our agents now are, just reasoning and acting. But okay, so we're bringing in the React agent. Now for the LLM, we want to point that at the LLM that we set up before. And okay, and it doesn't. Okay, so that should be all. All right, so now we're going to try a example query. We need to come up with a better one. Let's see. Let me move some stuff up here. Okay, and that's the React agent. I'm gonna need to put some stuff inside a function here. Let's go ahead and, I don't know, put this in a function, async def main. If, okay, there we go. Let's bring in more imports. All right. So what do you got here? We got React agent, context, agent.run. All right. Can I get my gardening tools reimbursed? All right. Passing the context. As we get back results, we print them out. And let's try that out. And Adam says you want to see small agents. Whew, that'd be another one I haven't tried. Would that be using GitHub Models? Is that because is small agents a one that can be pointed at any model, or is that specifically would just be Hugging Face models? I haven't messed with that yet. Okay. All right. So, all right. It did not like our embedding model. Okay. I'm not too surprised. I thought that was a little sketchy of me. Okay. All right, how can I do an embedding model? Let's see. This is a good question. So OpenAI embedding. Okay, all right. LlamaIndex OpenAI like. Just gonna look at the reference first. So this one is really just for, this really doesn't look like it's for embedding models because all of this has to do with chat completions. So the question is, how can we do embedding models? Can we just use their okay, LlamaIndex OpenAI like embedding models. We'll just see if anyone else asked about this. Embeddings. There we go. There's a question. Best way to use an OpenAI compatible embedding API. Yes. All right, here is the non. Okay. OpenAI embedding, API base. Set model name and API base. Okay, let's see. Embed model. All right. That one. Okay, we already have that one. We already have that one. Okay, so use model instead of model name. So it's going to be text embedding 3. Let's do small. API base. So that is this one. API key. We actually need it. It's going to be this one. And embed batch size. Okay. We can keep the same embed batch size. I don't think we have to customize that. All right. Okay, so settings. All right, so let's just try this one out. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. All right, it gives us note about things it can't find. I've seen that error before, though. It's not really an error. It's fine. Okay, so thought. Current language of the user is English. I need to use a tool to check if gardening tools can be reimbursed under the Contoso Plus program. It goes with Engine 2. Let's look at Engine 2. Is that correct? Engine 2 is Perks Plus. Good. Gardening tools reimbursement. Thought. I can answer without using any more tool. I'll use the user's language to answer. Answer. Gardening tools cannot be reimbursed under the Perks Plus program as they are considered. Did it get cut off there? Where's the, is there considered what? Kind of looks like it got cut off. Let's see what they did here. So they streamed it and then they also looked at the string of the response. So wait handler. All right, let's try that again. Okay, looks like this is generally working. Picking engine 2. There we go. Actually, I'll use the answer indicator non-fitness for the gardening tools. Okay, yeah. So there we go. I think it was just the way it was printing. Flush through. Okay. All right, and there we go. So we can do. Okay, so that's basically working there. That's cool. I think I'm not going to add my. Do I want to add my storage here? I could. Then nobody else would have to embed it. Should I add the storage? I don't think it took a lot of. I can't decide whether to add the storage. All right. Well, I'll add it for now. Adding LlamaIndex example. All right. So now we have LlamaIndex. And oh, let me also add a link to the relevant tutorial here. Okay. Okay. All right. So that is working. All right. So we had a mention of small agents, which I've never heard of. So because I live in my little Microsoft world and don't get out much. A bare bones library for agents. Nice. Let's see how bare bones it is. 1,000 lines of code. First class support for code agents. Sandbox environment. Model agnostic. Local transfer or any models. Oh, okay. All right. So I will say whenever I see the light LLM, I get a little worried because it's going to work fine for GitHub models. But if you're going to try to use it for Azure, OpenAI, and you want to use keyless authentication, light LLM isn't 100% working yet because it doesn't do token refresh, right? So it works fine with like a static API key that is just, that's your key forever. But if you're trying to do OAuth based authentication where you have a token and the token has to be refreshed, the light LLM still has an open ticket about that. But we should be able to use it with GitHub models. So there we go. All right. So since it's a very small package, we should be able to install this, right? Let's try it. Small agents, pip install our requirements, text. Okay. And it looks like it did bring in a couple dependencies, Lixamil and Primp. I've never heard of Primp. What the heck is Primp? Primp. Okay, I can impersonate web browsers. Interesting. All right. So we got it. And then we're going to define our agent and give it some tools. Whoa, is that just going to work if I do that? That'd be cool. All right, so let's add a small agent. And instead of a Hugging Face API model, all right, so let's see, OpenAI compatible servers. That's all we need. Love it. So the model ID is going to be TG40. The API base is going to be that one. And the API key is going to be that one. All right, that's our model. Okay, cool. Is it going to work? I'm going to be really impressed if it is able to use DuckDuckGo without any. Do you not need a key for DuckDuckGo? Is that just free? Free web search? Ooh, it has really pretty results. They must be using Rich behind the scenes, right? Because look at that. That is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. What? Oh, and it came with code. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. All right. So what did it do? It did a lot of stuff here. So somehow it parsed. How many seconds did it take? Error in code parsing. Yeah. All right. So it assumed I was doing it. Oh, because I said it was a code agent. Okay. So I guess it first always tries to interpret something as code. But then it says, all right, to calculate the time, you determine the average full speed of a letter, find the length of pont d'art. Oh, is that the question I had? Okay. And then use the formula to calculate. Start by performing a web search, provide the correct code block. Okay, web search. Okay, and that worked. How come DuckDuckGo does not require a key? I'm just kind of shocked that it doesn't require a key because most things in the world require a key. There's even a Google search. Oh, is this impersonating a web browser? Is this why it's working? This one, like Google search does have a little key. Okay, so Google search has a key and DuckDuckGo is just free, I guess. This one does say, okay, you have to have DuckDuckGo search. Did I end up getting DuckDuckGo? Duck. Oh, I gotta grep it. Grep. Oh yeah, so it must have installed DuckDuckGo. Okay. All right, so I didn't notice when it installed DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. There's also a Wikipedia search tool. Does that one need a key? Let's see. And user agent. Looks like you wouldn't actually need a key for that. Okay. All right. So so it did a bunch of searching. Found various results, not just Wikipedia. Okay. And then finally it wrote the Python code, and it ran the Python code. Cool. All right. Well, that works. I'll go ahead and add that example. Maybe I'll call it like code agent. I think it's mostly about code agents, right? Small agents. I'll call it small agents code agent, because it's mostly the point of it. Let's see. Run powerful agents. First class for code agents. Yeah. Do they do other things besides code agents? How do code agents work? Classic React agents like the one we just did. How small is the library? Oh, that's why it's called small. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, you can compare using each of these as a code agent. So looks like DeepSeek is very good at math. So I guess if your code has math in it, I don't know how this helps let you know which one is best on the code engine. All right. Oh, and there's a research paper. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. So we got code agent. Let's add this. Adding small agent. All right. Okay. We're looking pretty good here. I think the big thing we're missing is crew AI, but as I said, like I'm not sure I can bring that in as a simple one line file. So I might link to a separate repo for that one. Let's see. I do need to make my code prettier because right now it is ugly. Let me install my pre-commit because my pre-commit, let's see, my pre-commit should run rough on everything. Yeah. Let's see, like get rid of that. All right. Pre-commit run on all files. Okay. All right. So it ran a bunch of things. Oh, it said, yeah, if we are using the most recent version of Python, because I told it maybe I'll have it target 3.10. Let me run it again. Okay. Yeah, even in 3.10 you can use. So it's only in 3.9 that it doesn't have support for the blank or blank, right? This one. So if we're saying you have to use 3.10, which I think is reasonable to ask, then it can do it. Now we can just have check. Let's just have rough fix it itself. Let me install rough. I only had it installed via the pre-commit. All right, rough check. --. All right. 11 years. Okay. All right. So it doesn't want to automatically fix this one. So we'll change this to this. And I'll just get rid of the types here. Okay. Let's see, where else? Got that. All right. And then we just got some lines too long. We got a bare except, right? They're trying to even get rid of bare excepts in Python. So what is the actual exception? I don't even know what the exception would be. That's the problem with the bare exception. What would be the exception? Does it say what it throws? No. Does this one say what it throws? Nope. Well, yeah, you shouldn't. All right, well, you know what? We can test it out. We can see. This is why you shouldn't have bare accepts, because you shouldn't have you should know what errors you're expecting. So I just deleted storage, so we should get the error. So here's what I'll do. I'll say exception as E, and I'll print out the type of that exception, because I want to know what is the relevant exception to be catching. Okay, so yeah, it was file not found. Copilot knew. All right. All right, so that's good, except file not found, error. That's E. Okay. Can I just do this? All right. All right, let's go back to rough. And now we just got a bunch of lines too long, which is always the dilemma with our system stuff. I'm not too concerned about lines too long. I'll just go ahead and say the line can be, what's the longest one we have here? Like, I'll just do like 150. 370. Okay. Can't remember if you can do like line length infinity. 1000. Good. All checks passed. Yes. Okay. And there we go. All right. So now things are looking a little prettier. My README is completely and utterly wrong. Maybe Copilot could write it for me. Rewrite the README. So now we do edit mode. Okay, rewrite the README to reflect the actual purpose of the repo, AI agents, Python demos. Let's see how it does with that. Getting at the end of the day here, so I'm making Copilot do work for me. Okay. All right, sweet. And let me add, ran all the formatting. Okay. All right, so I think all we have left is making a nicer README here. Let's see how it does. Okay, well, I'm going to have to edit it, but let's see. No, I want kind of like the list of everything. The other thing I can do is I can add Azure support to all of them too, so that if you want to like basically go from GitHub Models to Azure, we can just switch to that. All right, well, it's a good start. It's a good start, Copilot, but I'll fix it up. Okay. All right, so there we go. It's a good start. Remember, the README is in progress, but lots of examples here. And if you just open it in GitHub Codespaces, these should just work. So we've got a ton of the big frameworks represented there and some new ones I just learned about. So hopefully that is a good start for people. If there's any other frameworks we should add in here, let me know and I will make it work. And if there's any other like cool examples that we should definitely add of agentic flows, I can also add some of that. All right. All right, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to go ahead and plug that the Agents Hackathon is tomorrow. Our English kickoff is at 9 a.m. PT. I'll be doing that along with Corey, Josh, and Marlene. And then we have Spanish and Portuguese kickoffs both at noon. So if you speak both those languages, just pick a language. I'm actually going to open both of them in 2 different YouTube tabs so I can check on the questions. But yeah, starting tomorrow should be fun. And we look forward to seeing some hacks and giving you money for making cool ones. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good evening or morning if it's morning now, John, and everyone else. Bye.